This is Adventures in Vinyl Land, where we take a look at vinyl releases of the past, the present, and maybe even the future. I'm your host, Randy the Shoegazer, and today I finally get to review something that lives up to my nickname. I get the question all the time, what the hell is a shoegazer? I also get requests, can you review a shoegazing band? Usually it's My Bloody Valentine, Lush, or Ride, but today I'm going to do something unexpected and review one of the much lesser known bands. This is my review of the self-titled EP by LSD and the Search for God. And I'm reviewing this particular EP because it's a great gateway to get into the shoegazing genre. Shoegazing is a subgenre of alternative rock that formed in the late 80s and early 90s in the UK. It utilizes effects pedals to create a dreamy, psychedelic atmosphere. Have you ever listened to a Jimi Hendrix song and heard all the reverb and effects give you that trippy, out-of-body feeling? Shoegazing takes effects pedals and boosts that feeling even more. The idea is to take the walls of sound and balance them with good melody and songwriting. The performers in these bands would play at ear-blasting volumes, often requiring earplugs for concertgoers. The loud volume would allow the effects pedals to all be heard. Journalists took note of the motionless performances of bands like Ride and Moose, where they would stare at their shoes to make sure the right effects pedals were being placed at the right time. Thus, this movement was named the shoegazing movement and unfortunately stuck. Now, the most famous shoegazing band is My Bloody Valentine, but I feel like so many other shoegazing bands get overshadowed by them, some of which I think are better than MBV. Shoegazing faded into obscurity as grunge and Britpop took over the airwaves. The genre's lack of a real image or message made them seen as privileged, mostly white middle class. Whether this is true or not is up to your point of view. Nonetheless, many of the genre's bands either shifted genres or broke up. Then the 2000s came around, which was a really strange time in popular music. Everyone was looking for the new sound, with many genres having already been taken to their logical extreme, or musicians were running out of ideas. Artists took to old genres to recapture the glory of an industry that was once not dry on innovation. We saw revivalism of every genre imaginable, and shoegazing was one of those. It was dubbed Newgazing by Sam Wardner of My Vitriol. Some of these bands combined it with electronica, metal, and even country. But many bands sought to continue the great genre of the 90s that captivated so many. That's where LSD and the Search for God comes into play. The band formed in either 2005 or 2006 in California. I scoured online sources to try to get some early history of the band, but wasn't able to find much. What I was able to find was some interview in 2007 that describes how they got their sound and asked whether or not the band was associated with drug culture. They like to play it off in a way that leaves it ambiguous to their listeners. There's not much information about this EP's production beyond that it was recorded sometime in 2006. It saw some online distribution later that year and got a physical release the following. I also see in the credits that the first 3 songs were by Heaven Going. I wonder if that was an early formation of the band. Good luck trying to get an original pressing on any formats. The CD copy used to range well above $500 at times, and the original vinyl pressing is almost impossible to find. Last year the EP got re-released, and my copy is from that pressing. On the front we see a giant orange thumbprint with some sort of insignia on the tip. It's meant to be reminiscent of 4AD Records' minimalist artwork made famous by the Cocteau Twins. The back gives us more intentionally vague imagery in a track listing. You'll see copyright 2016, but that's just because that's when it was reissued. The inside gives us the name of the band members and the band's awesome logo. The record, get ready for this, it's orange! Okay, you guys in the vinyl collecting community probably don't care because you're used to colored vinyl, but this still surprised me when I took it out expecting a generic black record. Now let's give this record a good ol' in out, and see how it sounds. The record starts with This Time. It sounds like one of those big shoegazing singles the band would release in the early 90s. The chorus gives us heavy guitar effects, with the vocals drowned out in the style of My Bloody Valentine. Scott Eberhardt's drums are one of the highlights of the band, helping add a stable rhythm to a huge wall of echo and reverb. The song ends with a great vocal melody by Andy List that helps wind it down. I Don't Care starts with a thunderous guitar melody. It commands your attention instantly, with Sophia Campbell's vocals backing up List. Then it bursts right back to the fantastic guitar melody. It's a simple, great song. Backwards is a slower song that lets the atmosphere completely take over. List sings a few lines before being joined by Campbell. The duet continues well into the chorus as it builds up to a more complex harmony. Side B starts with one of my favorite shoegazing songs ever, Starting Over. The song exemplifies how great the genre can get. List and Campbell play off each other great here. The guitar effects and melody complement this interplay wonderfully. Then, this happens. And well, just listen. Campbell sounds heavenly, singing a melody that will get stuck in your head for sure. You can't understand what she's saying, but you can feel exactly what she's feeling. The EP ends with Starshine. Campbell sings entirely on her own here. The guitars shimmer and shine in radiance. Campbell is on fire here, especially in the choruses. Now, if you've been able to tell from listening to the samples here, this is a very atmospheric experience that's hard to put to words. The wall of sound production feels like a proper step from the days of My Bloody Valentine. The textures created by the guitars are unlike anything in the shoegazing genre. I say it's like being trapped in a cathedral, with guitars resembling pipe organs, overwhelming your senses with sound. Melodically and lyrically, it's not a strong listening experience, aside from the guitar melodies and Sophia Campbell's vocals. Andy List's vocals can be a little dull and dry at times, but it doesn't do anything to subtract from the overall listening experience. Despite this EP causing a lot of underground buzz and showing a lot of potential, the band disappeared for a few years after its release. I've heard some people tell me that it was because of Fleetwood Mac-like tensions between Sophia and some of the other band members. Information isn't exactly clear, and to be honest, it's not really any of our business. What is known is that the band got back together in 2013, played a few small shows, and got the drummer from the Brian Jonestown Massacre to join. They even opened for famous shoegazing band The Telescopes for a few shows in 2015. In 2016, they released a new EP that some fans have said is a disappointment. Other fans say it's more of the same. LSD and the Search for God may not be the most brilliant listen, but it's a great gateway to get into shoegazing. It isn't so far over its head that you'll get lost trying to understand it, and it has enough of its own identity to not be just another My Bloody Valentine clone. I recommend picking up the reissue, as the original copies can cost you a pretty penny. And of course, these guys are available on digital resources such as Spotify and iTunes. Well, that about does it for this episode. See you next time when we go right into David Bowie month. See you later.